Don't be scared of the dark. There's no reason to be afraid of the dark. Darkness is a condition of life, a condition of existence. And therefore, just like all conditions of existence, it is subject to the law of impermanence. So, there's no reason to be scared of the dark. Because darkness comes and darkness goes. Hopefully that was an effective tool. So, what darkness am I talking about exactly? The darkness I'm talking about is the darkness that exists within all of us. You are the Las Vegas shooter. I am the Las Vegas shooter. If things go a little bit differently for you or for me, or if I am not as psychologically well adjusted, or if you are not as psychologically well adjusted, either one of us can commit atrocious, horrible, despicable acts of evil. And don't let that fact scare you. Don't let that keep you up at night. It is okay, because that is not where you are right now. If you ever do get there, that's when you should be concerned. But right now you're not. At least I hope not. It would be pretty fucking weird if you were watching this video as you were going on a rampage, and then I get a call from the FBI or something. Anyways. See, I can't even be serious for too long. There's no reason to be afraid. Understand. This is why I sign off all my videos with speak, listen, understand. Once you know, then you cannot logically be afraid. I feel like when you're afraid, fear is just that. It's what you don't know, you don't understand. When things go dark, you don't know what's in the room. Well, that's to say, if you enter a room that's dark, you don't know what's in the room. Unless, of course, you're a child. This is why turning off the lights is so scary for a child, because of object impermanence. And when you turn off the lights, suddenly the dresser that was right next to them has vanished. I've been thinking about this a lot, and I thought about this, a couple days after the Vegas shooting happened, as I was drifting off to sleep at the ungodly hour of 2 in the morning between one of my many jobs. It struck me that the Alex Jones types deal in conspiracy, and the statists also deal in their own conspiracy. And the word conspiracy, conspire, is just a plan, a gathering, making a plan. And the statist's form of conspiring is writing things on paper. Is to legislate. Is to congregate and make laws and say this will never happen again if we write it on a piece of paper. Which is pretty fucking arrogant, honestly. I wrote it down on a piece of paper, so it's never going to happen again. And I feel like this is why evil persists so much is because of our own arrogance and saying, well, it won't happen if we just write it down on a piece of paper, pass a law. And evil says, oh, no, you don't. I'm evil. And I'm here to stay until we figure that out. But I feel like both ways of thinking, either that, oh, this was a conspiracy, he planned to do it, it's all because of the interdimensional shape-shifting child molesters, and this was awful that this inanimate object possessed this bright young man to commit a crime. Both of those avoid personal responsibility. But most importantly, both of those avoid evil. And I know why. We don't want to admit that it's evil, particularly the statists, honestly. I'll focus on them. I mean, the Alex Jones types, I mean, they in a way acknowledge evil because they say, oh, well, someone planned this to make it look like this in order to pass an agenda to restrict our freedoms. Which, anytime you're contriving something to take freedoms away from someone, I would generally say, yeah, that's pretty evil. But it in a different way, it is a bit of a cop-out, because it kind of says, well, this man didn't do it. It was some higher up, well, or lower down, rather, I guess, way of thinking that led to this. Not this human being did this. It was an interdimensional lizard person who did this. And the statists say, oh, this was the inanimate object's fault. It's the gun that did this. And we know that this is their thinking because now in, I think it's the entirety of the UK, knives, they have all these restrictions on knives. In London now, or in England, they have all these restrictions on sulfuric acid because of all the acid attacks. In parts of France, they're, specific roadways in France, they're looking at banning trucks because of the truck attack. And all of these things, they avoid evil. It's not a gun question, not a knife question, not an acid question, not a truck question. This is an evil question. And I think I posed this in one of my other videos. The big L left, the statists, they say man is evil, man is stupid, man is greedy. And those of us who are individualists say, you are correct. Man can be evil. Man can be stupid. Man can be greedy. But man is not all of those things entirely. Certainly not for very long, because they don't ever serve us very well. At least permanently. But nothing serves us permanently. But again, that goes back to why people believe in the divine. But at any rate, these things, so to say that, oh, well, the gun did this. No, the gun did not do this. The man did this. And the reason it scares people to say the man did this is because if another human being is able to do this, then logically speaking, you are another human being. So logically speaking, you might also be able to do this. And logically speaking, you could do this. You are the Vegas shooter. I am the Vegas shooter. All it takes is a couple of different tweaks. All it takes is an abusive childhood. And then not getting the help you need out of that abusive childhood, or not getting the counseling you need to deal with the aftermath of that abusive childhood. All it takes is using drugs and never having someone say, hey, you should stop using drugs, and then you go completely fucking berserk. All it takes is one thing unchecked, and suddenly you or I could be on the news. You know, the shooter's brother, I watched his second statement in its entirety, and he says, I hope that they do an autopsy and find that he had a tumor. Because the brother that I know and love could not have done this. And if there was no tumor, nothing acting, nothing moving him to act, then we are all in trouble. Because that could be any of us. And he is right. All of us could be moved to do this. All it takes is a few little tweaks. But don't let that scare you. Let that comfort you and go, yeah, well, that's not me. And another reason it shouldn't scare you is because, and again, this is not, a one thing. Like I said, it's just, it's one thing that's unchecked by another thing, right? So you can have an abusive childhood, but get a lot of counseling. And then you will be, not, you won't be as well adjusted as someone who doesn't have an abusive childhood, but you'll be better adjusted than someone who had an abusive childhood with no counseling. So all it takes for these things is a few tweaks, right? So it's like you could lose your job, but you're psychologically well adjusted, so you're not going to go on a rampage, because you had a good upbringing. Or, oh, you lost your job and you're not psychologically well adjusted, but you have a faith in a deity, in a God that tells you not to kill. But what's the fail-safe when none of those things exist? Ask yourself that question. That is why evil can persist when there's nothing checking it. And so then ask yourself why the statists are so intent on replacing the church with the government through legislation. And you have to ask the government permission for everything. Anyways, I hope this video was thought-provoking, did something for you. I made like a couple other versions of this video, but there was an issue with the camera, so this was the one that made it through, so hopefully it was good. I do intend to continue to make more videos now that I have a webcam again and I'm not sick anymore and all the rest of that. That was why there was such a delay. But please like, rate, comment, subscribe, talk to me. I want to know what you think. And follow me or donate to me on Patreon and HATREON. I'm also on Minds, which I keep forgetting about. Someone subscribed to me last night, so look me up on Minds. It's FrankDellDeanOfSatireAndMimicry. I'm also on Gab, which is another one I keep forgetting about, but I believe that one is FrankDellDeanOfSatire. And stay tuned for more videos. Until next time, speak, listen, understand, and don't be afraid of the dark.